welcome to Overrated Stories Part 3, where, funnily enough, we have 3 stories to go over. And surprisingly, they're all classic ones this time. First overrated episode in this video is an almost complete 60s serial, The Web of Fear with the Second Doctor. I hear a lot of praise for this one, and don't get me wrong, I like it. I think it's a good story, but honestly, Overrated does fit this one quite well. Firstly, I hate that Part 3 is missing, but what makes it even harder to enjoy is the fact that they didn't animate it. Part 3 on the DVD for Web of Fear is just a recon made with still images and audio. I mean, this DVD came out in 2013, so the BBC had already been animating missing episodes for quite a few years by this point. I don't know what the reason for them not doing this is, but it really makes this story a lot harder to enjoy when halfway through we have to just put up with a stills reconstruction. And to pour salt into the wound, Part 3 is also the very first appearance of the Brigadier, who is the best companion / character in the entirety of the show, besides the Doctor. And don't argue with me on that. Now, apart from the missing episode 3, the overall story is pretty damn good, if a little too long. The Robot Yeti in the London Underground has become quite an iconic image of 60s Doctor Who, and there are reasons that it's popular, but I reckon it would have been alright being 4 parts instead of 6. It is still a great example of Doctor Who's ability to have science fiction stories set in very recognisable contemporary locations though. As a main villain as well, the Great Intelligence is fantastic. First appearing in The Abominable Snowman, another missing classic serial, and then in this before being brought back in Series 7 to face Matt Smith's Doctor. I just wish that both classic serials that he's in were complete so we could get a full picture of this villain. And am I the only one who thinks that the modern episodes to feature the Great Intelligence sort of create a weird disconnect to the classic versions? I mean, in Series 7, they rarely, if ever, make a point of connecting the Great Intelligence to what he was like in Classic Who. Just one reference to Web of Fear, but other than that, it's like it's a completely new character with different origins, motives, and everything. Maybe it's just me being a fanboy, but I wish they would have bridged the gap a little bit more with this villain. Back to the Web of Fear though, I mean that is what we're meant to be discussing here. Yeah, I don't hate it, and in fact I quite like it, but just like Blink, Mummy on the Orient Express, City of Death and some other stories I've had in previous overrated videos, it doesn't quite live up to the standards that I'd expect given the general positive opinion from other fans. Now, BBC, please animate The Abominable Snowman and Part 3 of the Web of Fear and release them in some kind of mini box set or something, please, I'm begging you. Next up could be a bit of a controversial opinion, I'm not too sure. Next I'm going to be putting The Keeper of Traken on here, Tom Baker's penultimate episode and the first in the Master Trilogy, which saw the transition to Peter Davison as the Doctor. The majority of people I see talk about this one are very positive about it, and yeah, you guessed it, I don't think it's all that great. Now, hear me out before you dislike the video, unsubscribe from the channel, track down my address and pay me a visit with the tank, will you? Now, I may have put Keeper of Traken as my joint least favourite story of Season 18 along with Meg Loss. Sorry if that offends you, I just find Keeper to be a bit dull. Visually it looks really nice for what it is, but as someone who isn't a fan of the whole tree-based aesthetic, I guess it's called, it really turns me off from the rest of the story. Usually I don't have a problem with Classic Who's slow pacing, but here it just seems to really poke me in the face and I don't know why. And I wish the Master had more screen time too, since he spends most of the story just controlling Cassia and moving around in his TARDIS disguised as the Milker thing before finally showing up in person for about 3 minutes towards the end and then stealing Treemaster's body. Now there are of course good points with this episode. It introduces Nyssa, criminally underrated companion. It's a Master story, even if he only has a very brief appearance, and it's a 4th Doctor story, so that's an automatic plus, and it nicely sets up the 2 better stories in the Master trilogy, Logopolis and Castrovalva. Alright, that's probably not very fair on Keeper of Traken, but it is my least favourite of the Master Trilogy though. Sorry about that, Traken fans. Overall not terrible and actually quite decent, but there's a good number of episodes that I would sooner pick up to watch before this one. Third and finally, it's another popular Tom Baker story that wasn't intentional, it just sort of happened. Season 14's The Robots of Death, I noticed, has a lot of acclaim to it. And obviously I'm going to say that it doesn't deserve that acclaim to the extent that it does. I apologise to any fans of this episode, but it's just very average to me. It's just like any other bog standard piece of 70s Who that's not very remarkable. Can someone, please tell me what makes this story so popular, because I'm failing to see whatever it is at the moment. The plot's nothing really special, it's just a space murder mystery with the obvious element of the robots being the killers. The whole payoff is quite been there, done that too, with the human villain Taron Capel wanting to replace the human race with robots. Just realised that was kind of what the Master was planning in the Series 1 finale to my fan films. Now I'm going to look like a hypocrite on the internet. The robots themselves are pretty boring in terms of design too, like they just look like moving, shiny people statues with normal human voices with a slight audio effect added, and they go around strangling people to death. You know, the way people go on about this one, you'd expect it to be like another invasion or genesis of the Daleks or Kaiser Andrazan, your impossible planet, Satan Pit or something, but no, to me it's just in the same league as the Crotons, Revenge of the Cybermen, the Android Invasion, Curse of the Black Spot, and other middling stories like that. Not bad, of course, but just very overrated. And that's all been quite negative so far, but I do have some favourite moments from this episode. The Doctor defeating the villain with helium to change his voice was both funny and creative. And the bit at the start of, part 2, where the Doctor's buried in the, I guess you could call it, the rock sediment in the silo. You just see this little tube just rise up out of it for him to breathe through, which I laughed at as well. The undercover robot agent, can't remember his name, that gives his life at the end was a nice little character as well. In general, Robots of Death really isn't deserving of anything higher than a 6 to a 6.5 in my opinion. Please don't throw your hands at me in the comments for saying that. Get it? Reference to the episode. No? Tough crowd. And there you go, my third Overrated Stories video. That makes it 3 videos for both overrated and underrated that I've done now. I may do more of these at some point, but probably not for a little while. I'll probably just stick to the Whoniverse database and the ranking videos from now on while working on Fanfilm Series 2 and some other projects. If you like, then maybe comment what stories you think are overrated, and I'll see you in whatever the next video will be. Adios, nutters!